Good afternoon, everyone. This is David Wolf from Just Solutions, and today we're going to be talking about LastPass. Some of you may already have it, some may be learning about it for the first time. So I'm going to try to get everyone on the same page, and we'll have lots of time for your questions. I'm also going to attempt a live demo. I'm working from home like many of you, so we're all counting on Spectrum to do their job today. So a little background on me for new people that haven't been on our webinars before. I've been in the IT industry for already 35 years. I'm an RIT grad and then went to Roberts for my master's. Worked for a company called Spurry, which merged with Burroughs, became Unisys back in the 90s. And went on to work for an early ISP in the 90s, and then started Just Solutions with my wife in late 97. And today we have over 20 engineers, 300 clients, and we're certified in all types of product lines. We focus on managed services for small, medium-sized businesses, and have been growing steadily over the past 22 years. So thank you for joining us. And if you ever have any questions on any technology topics, don't hesitate to reach out. So today's agenda, why LastPass? We're going to talk about why I chose LastPass. We did our own research internally before we picked it. There's quite a few password managers out there. We tend to focus on what we consider the brand leader or the highest quality product for the best value. So after evaluating the different ones on the market, we landed on LastPass about 5 years ago, and that's what we've been using and recommending to our clients. So that's one of the reasons we'll talk about that. I'm going to show you the plans, installation, and use. So we will jump out real quick and show you how to get a free account, because you can start with a free account. And then we'll come back and delve into more of its features. And then also for you users that have been using it for a while, I threw in some advanced tips as well and some suggestions from their advanced training class. And we'll also dive into a live demo and try to show you where some of these things are, because the slides don't always match the current versions. Unfortunately, the way things change, the decks, presentation decks don't get updated by LastPass as quickly as the software does. And then we'll finish up with Q&A. So what's LastPass? What does LastPass do for you? And where it got its name is kind of the key here. The idea is it's the last password you'll ever have to remember. In today's world of passwords and websites and applications, and every place you go and wanting a different password, you now have a tool and a safe way to store those passwords, and not in a little book or on paper or in a spreadsheet or anything like that that can be easily compromised. You now have a secure way to save that information and follow one of the most important recommendations that security professionals all have, and that is not use the same password on multiple sites. Repeating passwords means when one site is compromised, that same password then will be attempted and used at other sites. So if you use the same password on all your sites and LinkedIn gets compromised, which they have, or Facebook gets compromised, which they have, then now that password is out there in the wild and can be used. So the goal here is to eliminate using the same password everywhere, and also eliminate the frustration of having to remember them all. The additional problem has been compounded by everybody wants you to use these strong cryptic passwords. So if you're going to use these strong cryptic passwords, how the heck are you going to remember them without writing them down? So again, LastPass covers a lot of those important aspects, and then a few others that you probably haven't even thought of that we'll talk about. Privacy, please. Well, the key here is they designed a platform which really is super smart. It's based on zero knowledge, zero trust. They don't know your passwords. They don't have your passwords. All they have is the encrypted hash password that's stored in their system. And the only way for that to get decrypted is on your side using your master password. So that's why you only have to remember one password. And that's why you don't share it with anyone either. And I'll talk about what you do in an emergency situation as well, and why this is great for families and storing your parents' information, things of that sort. I'll get into all kinds of other uses of this, because this is not just for business. You can use it for your personal life too. So yeah, it's a very, very well thought out, well engineered system. So let's jump out and get our free trial. If you don't have LastPass already, if you go to our website, https://justinc.com/LastPass, as I have on the slide. If you go there, that has a link, and I will jump over and show you. And let me switch share. Give me a thumbs up. You can see that now. I moved you over to, thank you. So I moved you over to our website, and if you scroll down from this top page, which is the LastPass describes the password manager, we have a link for getting a free trial. So you click on that link for a free trial, and it brings you over to the LastPass site. And one more click and you're almost there. You can upgrade for later for a premium site, but you don't have to do anything right now. Now you can just have it for free. And you don't have a lot to have to fill out here. Just pick out your email address. And here's the key. This is your master password. This should be a phrase. It should be easy for you to remember. If you look at the bottom here, they gave you a nice little example. It says, Fido ate my 2 wool socks. Okay, it's a cute little saying. And it's, if you put it in a password cracking tool, it'll say it'd take probably 1 billion years to crack. Obviously that all changes as we get quantum computing, but we'll leave that be for now. So you want to pick a master password, and it's got to be at least 12 characters long, at least one number. I prefer doing combinations of things, and try to make it a phrase. Nothing easy to guess. You could put, if you remember back the old days with AOL had actually a pretty cool password because they gave you 2 different words, like chair, and then they did a special symbol, like an @ symbol, and then did window. And they're two words that mean nothing. You would never think of putting together, that AOL combined and made pretty good passwords that way. So a phrase is a great thing. You pick one. Mary Had a Little Lamb with some substitution is a good one. They don't show spaces in here, but some of my research has shown that adding a space in your sentence, actually a space is a special character, and it's easy for you to remember and read. So having a space in there and doing a sentence isn't a bad thing either. So you pick a good master password. And it's going to tell you how you're doing. It's going to score your password and let you know how well it thinks on the strength meter. Okay, and you see how by putting it in, playing with it, you can make sure you hit all the green check marks and got a nice long strength meter on that. And then you confirm it, and then you can put a reminder in there. Be careful what you put in as a reminder. And let me tell you something very important here. There's no recovery here. If you forget this master password, you got to start all over. All you can do is delete the account and restart. They can't recover your password. So it really needs to be a strong master password. And again, you don't share it and you don't use it at any other site. This is strictly for LastPass, nothing else. So I guess for the time being, I think you might have to write it down, but get it down as a phrase and then really make it something that's easy enough to remember, but complex enough that no one could ever guess it in 1 million years. And that's really the goal here. So you can see I got high strength. I hit all the requirements. Got my master password. That's it. That's what you got to do to sign up free for the service. The next step is actually installing the software, and we'll talk about that too. There's different plans. I'm not going to get into the details there. That's a sales thing. There's single users, families, there's business plans. We're on the enterprise version here at Just Solutions. That's what we use. It gives us all the functions and features we need. But you're welcome to sign up and get the free one. I would start off with the free one because you can, and I'll show you later, you can actually keep your own personal emails and passwords and sites separate from your business. And if you ever leave where you're working, you can split those 2 accounts away and keep your personal with you and leave the business ones at business, and your admin doesn't have your personal information. So instead of just trying to put it all in your corporate LastPass account, they recommend having 2, your personal one and then a business one, you can always link them together so you don't have to sign in twice, which is a nice feature. So let's go back to the presentation. Again, that's something for you to do on your own. You can try out the program and see how easy it is after we go through all this training here. All right. So let's go back and share the presentation. Give me a thumbs up. You can see that again. So I know we're back over there. Thank you. Okay, so that's to try to get everyone on the same page. Some of you have never seen it before, and so you'll be downloading, installing this for the first time, and we'll talk about that as well. Getting your free account. Some of you may already have it. So let's keep moving. And now you're going to sign in, and you're going to download LastPass. Once you sign in, you're going to have an account now, and it's going to offer you to download the program. It's available as a plugin for all your popular browsers, every browser, Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, Chrome, you name it, and Edge. So you'll be able to install that, and I will show you how that looks and what it looks like in each browser. But now you can stop using the same password every site. One of the things it will do during the install process in setup process is ask you if you want to import the passwords that's found inside your browser. You're going to be really surprised when you realize what you've left behind when you've been browsing sites, and you'll be like blown away that it found all these different sites you've been to, pulled them all out of the browsers, and says, oh, I've got this username and this password, this username and this password. And when you see all that, just think, if it was easy for the program to do it, how easy it was for a hacker that got into your computer to do it. So when it's done going through your browser, it will clean all that out for you. So all that information will be purged from your PC and not available to a hacker in the future, which is wonderful once you start using LastPass. So the other thing it has, and we'll talk more about it, and I talk a little bit in advanced features, is it has what we call secure notes and secure fill-in, which you can use for credit card and checking account information. I store everything in this thing because it really is the only safe way. Think of it as a vault or a safe security box that you have at the bank. That's what you're doing, is you're vaulting all your information in the system, and the only person who has the master key is you. That LastPass is your master key. So what happens is when we do install it, and I'm just showing you Internet Explorer here, an example, you'll see up by my name, you'll see 3 little dots in a gray box. That's telling me that there's LastPass, that login is saved in LastPass for this website, and LastPass knows how to log into my Office 365 account. So this is just a screenshot, but I'm going to show you how that works. And you can see those little dots. It's gray right now. I put it inside the red circle, but that's the kind of thing you're going to see when you go to a website. It's going to tell you, hey, I have something in LastPass for this site. Do you want to use it? And you can click on that. If you're browsing, you also have it up here in your browser. So here I installed the little, what we call the extension or plugin for Chrome. And it's up here in the corner, and it's the 3 dots, and it's the red box. Now, if it was gray, that essentially is telling me I'm not logged into my LastPass at that point. Red means I'm logged in, and it's showing me 4 websites that it thinks it has passwords for, probably the ones on this page as well. So that's the plugin. That's what it looks like in Chrome. And then in Edge, it's a little different. And then there's different ones for each. For Mozilla, there's all shortcuts how to get them into in Edge, Chrome, whatever, how to get directly to your browsers. I show them right here how to enable them. Once they're enabled, you don't have to worry it again. This is the little menu that pops up. So when you click on the ... you're going to get this little pop-up menu. It's static right now. In the live demo, you'll get to see it actually moving. But what happens is it comes up and says, okay, what are you looking for? And you can put in any web name you want or anything you're looking for, and it'll search in your vault for you. It can look through your sites, your notes, your form fills, you name it. And then it also has this really great generate secure password for you. And one of the nicest things about this tool is that it will generate a password for you. Instead of you racking your brain trying to come up with new ones every time, you just let it auto-generate. And I'll show you what I use. I set mine default to be 16 characters long. And that is like off the charts. You can go way higher. I mean, it goes much, much higher. But by keeping up at a really high number, I know that I've given myself a pretty darn secure password. And then here, this little counter in the red box shows it shows one matching site. What's going to be interesting is you'll see how I go along. And if I put in a site like, I have a lot of vendors that use sales, now I can't think of the name, the sales site. And you can actually go to their site, and I have so many different vendor sites that are same place. It will show up here and have a count like 5, and I'll know there's 5 different logins at salesforce.com. That's the one I was drawing a blank on. So a lot of you might have salesforce.com accounts provided you by some of your vendors that use it. So when I go to salesforce.com, all of a sudden there's 5 different ones that show up because I could have 5 different accounts with them based on the different vendors. So it's smart enough to know all that. It shows you your recently used ones, and then there's some more options and preferences, and then also a log out. It will time you out and log you out. I will show you the login process, and there is a checkbox to save your memory or to save your password in memory. Please, please, please don't do that. That's the last thing you want to do is save your LastPass in your browser. That's defeats the whole purpose in my mind. I don't think that's worth doing at all, even if you think it's a secure computer. So when you get into LastPass, this is what the vault looks like. Again, this is just a screenshot. I'll show you live, but you can access it from anywhere. So you can go to www.lastpass.com or through any of those plugins, and you can get to your vault. So wherever you are, you have access to this. My favorite thing they did is they were the first to come out with a really awesome mobile app. They were ahead of everybody with the mobile app, and their mobile app still is the best. So now with my Android phone, whether it's Apple, Android, Windows, it doesn't matter. You download the app for free. You install it on your phone, and all you have to do is put in your email address in there, which is your account name, and your LastPass master password. And then I turned on my fingerprint. So now on my phone, I don't even have to type in my password, which is cryptic and long that I mentioned, the phrase, the LastPass phrase. I just use my fingerprint and it opens right up. And you'll find that super handy. Again, without your fingerprint, no one's going to be getting into your LastPass on your phone. So that's a really nice feature with all the phones having biometric capability now. I won't quite use facial recognition yet. That's been defeated. They've done some things with taking a picture and lining it up with the camera and tricking the camera. They're still working on it. So fingerprint's still the better of the biometric choices right now. They're working on retina scan too. I know it's all crazy stuff, but it's how secure we have to be today. So let's show you the other feature. It lets you import your data, which is really great. So it will import from other password managers that you might have, or if you're one of those people that have been saving things in a spreadsheet for a really long time, well, now's the time to get the data out of the spreadsheet and bring it over to LastPass and get rid of that spreadsheet. And the case in point I want to give you is, I'm not going to name names, but a very large multinational company had got breached recently, and what happened was they found an Excel file on the CEO's computer that had all the passwords. Because the CEO was one of these people that said it was very important to make sure that he wanted to make sure he had passwords to everything, keys to his kingdom. So he stored them in an Excel spreadsheet. Wasn't password protected, wasn't encrypted. So when hackers got into his computer through a phishing exercise, they found the spreadsheet and they literally took over his whole network worldwide. CEO had no one to blame but himself, and that meant that the IT guys did not get fired. They took about 2 weeks to clean everything up. The company was down for literally 2 weeks with no IT while they were cleaning this mess up. So don't think it can't happen to you. It can. So please don't keep things in paper files or an Excel file. Get them over in a LastPass. Just got to ask a question. And by the way, you can ask me questions anytime. I'm happy to answer them. Yes, you can change your master password. There's been some new standards come out by NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, government org, and Microsoft and a few others have all come out in favor of not changing your password frequently or forcing password changes. The reason for that is because people are being tricked now into changing their passwords because they're getting an email saying time to change your password, and that's actually a phishing email. So you should be the only one that really introduces changing your password, not being induced by someone else telling you should change it. If you get induced to change a password via email, ignore it, don't believe it, delete it, go directly to that website and change it there. Go directly to your bank site. Do not do it from any email that's sent to you, ever. Don't believe it. If you really think it's time to change your password, then go directly to that site and do it. Don't believe a link from LinkedIn. Don't believe a link from Facebook. Please don't be that gullible person. you are not going to get an email telling you time to change your password. It's pretty much become passe, and if you do, ignore it and go directly to the site, directly delete that email. Don't do it through any link that you get from any email. It's so easy for hackers to trick you. I can demonstrate that to you anytime you want to see it, but please do not do that. So saving existing credentials, you can actually go in and open up and save a new site. What's really nice is how it does it automatically for you. So when you're actually going around and you go log into a new site for the first time, maybe you just got this, you signed up for wayfair.com and you're shopping for some furniture at home. They recommend you create an account so then you can store your shipping information and your purchase history and preferences and things of that sort, or Lowe's.com or any of those places. Now you can have a unique account and password just for that site. And as soon as you enter it in, you don't have to remember, because LastPass will remember it for you and save it for you. So when you visit a site, it will do it literally a hands-free sign-in. You can literally go to that site and click on it and it will automatically log you in. It saves the URL of where you have to go, and it's literally a one-click touch, and you'll see that in the demo, how you can click and go directly into the site. So it will save you time. Here's the pop-up you'll get for generating an automatic password. So it gives you an option here, set to 12. I set mine to 16. You can go much higher. I would not go lower than 12. There's no reason to. And then they have the check boxes down here of what character types you want to see. And you know how some sites say you need to use all four? You got to use uppercase, lowercase, number, or special symbol. Well, you can check those off right here and say, okay, I want to use all four, or I only want to use 3. Why? There are still a couple sites that don't like special characters. I ran into that recently. And then there's some sites that don't want you to have, a minimum number of characters, like you have to have a minimum number of 3 digits or whatever. So it gives you the ability to match those patterns down here. And you can even make it pronounceable. Well, now why would you want to do that? You might want to make it pronounceable if it's going to be something you're going to have to type in on your phone. Maybe your Hulu login or your Netflix login, something that might be harder. Can you imagine typing a Netflix login on the controller keypad of your TV remote with special characters? You'd probably want to shoot your brains out by the time you got it into Netflix and authorize yourself. So you can make it easier with 3 characters and make it pronounceable, something might be easier to type. So here's how you can change the length, and you can change it as you go. You can set your defaults, and that's how easy it is. And then it tells you, hey, I generate a password, and it says, hey, do you want to save it? Sure. Yes, let's use this for the site. No, let's just save it as a new entry. Tips and tricks. Always edit, update, and store your credentials at the site. Okay, that's really when you want to do that. Is that's the only way you'll know it works. Why? If you don't, you will lose it, and you will you could. Well, I guess the worst case is you're going to have to do the forgot password at that site, at that store site, or that vendor site, or whatever website it is. You would have to do the forgot password process if you got it wrong in LastPass, and that does happen. And the best way to test it is you use the LastPass feature to the one-click to go in and check it. LastPass also has an advanced feature for going through and scoring and looking at your stored passwords, and I'll show you what that looks like in my account, which has numerous websites in it. Okay, these are some of the advanced steps that are recommended, and that's you can purge items and restore items. So if you have done some cleansing over time, you may want to purge the deleted items to get them out of the system, both in their cloud database and in your local app. So if you delete items, you might want to purge them. That way they're gone. If you delete something by mistake and you realize it just maybe a few days later, you can restore it. So how often you do that, that's up to you. Purge is a permanent, delete is restorable. So you can delete and recover. You purge, it's gone. Force save sites with an all save enter data. This is a original thing, but it's also being a new feature in advanced settings that you can customize. But I will tell you, you won't see this unless you're on the business side of things. So I'm sorry, I'm showing a feature that's not in the personal version. It's only in the business version. You also have Command Central or managing account settings. So the reason people pay for the business versions is it gives you the abilities to manage groups It gives you the ability to manage your employees, share passwords amongst employees without sharing the password. An example, you may have a bookkeeper, accounts payable person that needs to do bank recs. So you want them to have the ability to go into your banking account, but you don't want to give them your password so they could go home and log in. So you can lock it down and say, okay, they can use it, the trusted device, which is the office computer, and they can log into my bank account and they can use my password, and they can't see my password. My password's masked. So you can actually delegate and give permission to a employee or coworker to use your PayPal account, your credit card account, a vendor account, a distributor account, vendor manufacturer's account. You can actually share those accounts without actually having to share the password. If that employee leaves and you disable their access to LastPass corporate account, instantly their access to everything you ever gave them is turned off. The other nice thing as an administrator for a company is you have logs. So you can actually look in the log and see whatever anyone accessed any of those accounts. We use it at Just Solutions for our client access. So instead of storing passwords where anyone can see them, they're stored in LastPass, and a tech support employee can go and use the password while they're an employee of Just Solutions and access that account if they've been given permissions to. But if they're no longer at Just Solutions, you don't want them to no longer have access to the client site. And that's how that works. So there's a lot of nice features in the corporate teams in the enterprise version that doesn't exist in the personal version. That is controlling the devices, the trusted devices. And then the other thing that we've done is we've turned on what's called multi-factor authentication. In order to use LastPass for us, it's going to want to send a code to your phone to verify it's you before it lets you into your LastPass. So under creating and managing folders, you can then create a folder and tell it to share it. You can say who has access to it, and then you can hide and show what people can see in that folder. So you can build them as read-only or hide passphrases, and you can do that again from the family plan on up. You don't need it obviously in the personal version, but in the family plan they even give you sharing as well. So if you want I guess you want your kids to have access to Netflix but not change the password on you, you can do that. That way they couldn't change the password, but they could at least get in if that's what you wanted. So there's different purposes how you can do that, but it becomes more important when you're starting doing anything with the teams, family teams or enterprise. And this is a really nice feature. It runs a security challenge for you. You should, once you've converted all your passwords, imported them over, or sucked them in from your browser and gotten them in there, you can run this challenge test, and it's going to go look for duplicates. It's going to go show you where you have weak passwords, and it will help you update them. The other thing it does, which is really nice, is it alerts you to when I was alerted to when LinkedIn had their breach. I got alerted by LastPass saying, hey, your password that you had saved is older than the date of the breach, so you need to change it. And I'm like, that's brilliant. It's telling me that the breach just happened on such and such date, and the last time I changed my password was before that breach, so that means it should be in that breach pool. And it tells me that. Now, if my date was after the known breach date, it might still remind me, but it will say your last password was changed after that date. So it's smart enough to know and to report back what has been compromised. So they do a good job keeping track of the reported breaches, if things that are actually reported by the Equifaxes and that type of thing. If you don't have a smartphone, can you authenticate? Yeah, there are other ways of authenticating. I think you do a text message. So even though you don't have a smartphone, you should be able to potentially do a text message to your phone. That's always an option. So maybe you don't have a mobile app, but you can still get a text on your flip phone. I won't call it dumb phone because I don't think the phones are too dumb. The highest possible score is 100. I'm sitting at 67. I've been working hard to try and get it higher. There's some things you have to do that we can look at my security challenge and see that there's still some cleanup I have to do. And linking to a personal account. Again, the reason for this is to keep them separate. It's hard to keep that work-life balance going, but here's another way to do it, is you can keep your personal vaulted information separate from your company information. If something happens and you don't have access to your company account anymore, you still have all the access to your personal account. And someone say, well, wait a minute, aren't you taking company information, putting your personal? No, 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 they're two different accounts. What's happening is your corporate account is managed and administered by the corporate, and those passwords and everything that's made in there, the groups and the folders and everything that's administered by your corporate, you have access to. And then there's that Chinese firewall there, and then you have your personal account, which is all your stuff that they can't see, and you just linked it for this, the convenience of your fingerprint, and you're logging in and kind of the administration, so you're not going crazy jumping back and forth between the personal and business. And I'll give you a look-see on how that looks in the demo. Okay, we're coming up to demo time. Let's see where we are on the slides. Hey, perfect timing, right on live demo time. All right, so let's stop sharing and the presentation. I'm going to jump over to my computer screen and share that for you. I'm going to do my whole desktop because I think if I get a pop-up, you won't see it the way Zoom does the sharing. So let's do it this way. We'll minimize the Prezi. And last thing I left here was the prices. And what I want you to see up here, besides my little face in Google, you'll see a little symbol there. Does everyone see that? If you can, give me a little thumbs up. But you see the little symbol there? That's my LastPass, and it says I'm logged in. So I'm going to log out just so you can see what that looks like. And so I can show you the login process. And so it's gray. That means I'm not logged in. So if I go to a site like my distributor, normally this distributor we'll see if it has anything saved automatically. It says, oops, it doesn't have anything in. See, it's empty. And you see how the boxes are gray here? Those are the LastPass boxes right here, these three dots, the login and user ID. So let's go back over to LastPass and let's turn it on and let's put our master password in. Remember what's happening here is this is not going to the cloud. It's being I am typing in my key here. It is getting decrypted by their algorithm, their program. It's never leaving my computer, and then it's sending that encryption hash over the internet, protected to their site, which is bringing out the data. So you're never giving up your master password. It's always going back and forth encrypted. Really, really well engineered and designed system. They're two separate systems. This whole authentication system is completely separate servers, completely separate firewalled from the data stores and the databases of all their stuff. This system is really engineered to death. So now this is the hard part, getting your long cryptic password typed right. And if you're like me, you may fat finger it a couple times to get in. And notice I do not check remember password. I say remember my login, but I don't want that. And Recover Help is only going to help you with a hint. Be careful you give it too good of a hint. So remember what I said, you can't recover your master password. You can only go through some processes to hint to help you remember what it is. You better hopefully figure it out, or you're going to be getting it reset, and a reset is a purge. So don't click remember. And if I did it right, look at that. I am now green, gone from gray to red, and it says I've got 4 remembered there. But let's go back over to that site, D&H, and all of a sudden D&H is going to go and pop in and fill in the fields for me. Oh, why did it say 4? Because I do have 4 accounts. I have 4 different accounts in that account. GSI Sales, GSI Tech, GSI Andrea, and my account. Again, you don't know what the passwords are, but there they are. It knows that there's 4 different accounts for that one site. I picked which one I want. It's got the password stored. I don't see that password. I log in, and now I'm back into that site. Okay? Beauty of knowing all of that right in LastPass. So now I'm back to the red, and now when I browse and go to other sites, whether I click on my banking site, I can come in here. Oh, I have 3 different logins for my banking site. Why would I have 3 different logins for my banking site? Because the banking site has 3 different sites I have to go through. Whether you're doing secure docs, remote check, whether you're doing banking, online banking, they have different sites. So here, just one bank has 3 different sites I have to remember, right? Well, I don't want them to all to be the same password. They're all separate. All those distributor sites. So I just looked at two different companies, and between the 2 of them, I have 7 different logins and passwords. Gets kind of crazy after a while, right? This is why you need a tool like LastPass. So you open this up, and let's go into my vault. And you'll see how crazy that looks. And this is a website. So every site I go to is all there. And the sites are organized different ways. There's sites that are shared. Some have the logos of the companies and tells me the last time I logged in. And you name it, there's just a zillion of them. I can search at the top for anything I want. And then if I wanted to log into Vistaprint, I could click on that and it would take me directly to Vistaprint. If I wanted to log into my Kia Finance or my Nest or Indeed, all familiar company, BJ's, you name it, all these familiar sites that you go to, I can now have separate usernames and passwords for every single one of them. And I don't have to worry about if one gets hacked, it means automatically having to worry about change all the rest. So now let's go down to the Security Challenge Center. Oh, I'm 62, I'm not 67, look at that. Not as high as I should. Show my score. So it'll go through and it will go through and build, and then it comes back and tells you all the recommendations of what you should do. Uh-oh, made a typo. Hmm. 372 sites, 624 entries. Going through and doing my ranking. Tells me all these that are known with security breaches. Look at all those known security breaches it wants me to go through and fix. Wow. How does it know that? Because it pulls it from the dark web. If any of you have been paying attention to us promoting the dark web and those reports, that's what this comes from. So we're sending you as a service, a monthly service, letting you know that you have, so our monitoring service at dark web will alert you that your account has been compromised. So it's telling me that my password at VMware or DocuSign, the old account, is on this email address is associated with a site that has a known security breach. Now, if you know you've changed the password, then you're good. But it's kind of alerting you, which is really the best way of best thing is to know that, oh yeah, Roadrunner, they're always broken into. So you can see that that's in there. And then it will help you, well, show your score. And then it tells you how to improve your score. It will help you change compromised passwords. It will help you change your weak ones. It will show you where you're reusing, and it will tell you which ones are old. And so you can go through that, and it can help fix all that. So last time I was doing it as a 40%. Now I'm at 62. You know, my master password score. Look at that. So I got a pretty hard master password, don't I? I'm at 100% for that score. So as a business administrator of our account, I can go into an account console and I can embarrass people by showing you their ranking. Just kidding. But it will show me my employees and how they're doing on their security scores. Who's reusing their master password, so I can tell them, hey, who's got some weak passwords? Let's fix those. So I can actually go in here and help my employees do a better job with theirs. And this is, again, in the enterprise version. So I showed you my personal vault, and I showed you the company one. The other thing they have is secure notes and secure forms. There's a company called RoboForms, and a lot of people like that, but that started out as a form fill program and tried to morph into a security password program. LastPass was built from the ground up for security and for password protection, the opposite of these form fill programs. So the nice thing is they turned around and used their same technology that they're using to protect your passwords to help protect your credit card information, your kids' social security numbers. How many people remember the kids' social security numbers off the top of their head? I don't. I can have them in here. How about your checking account routing number and checking account number? No problem. It's saved in here. So you can save all your notes, insurance policies, anything you want, policy numbers, any kind of information like that in secure notes, and they're free form. So you can come in and say, let's add a new one. And it says, well, what do you want to add? And you've got all these pre-designed ones: addresses, bank accounts, credit cards, driver's licenses, you name it, health insurance, passport, anything you want, you can save in here. So now you can link your personal account, and then there's another option here under advanced. You got all these new features now for credit monitoring, one-time passwords, managing or generating. Well, we talked about importing and exporting. So now you can import from your other browsers. If say you used IE for a lot of years and you switched over to a new one, but you never pulled your stuff out of IE, this would pull it out of IE for you. Sharing center. This is how you can turn around and share. So we set up shared accounts at our company. We have shared folders for accounting department, administrative, for technical, for marketing, for vendors, for clients, for the techs. You see how we do that? And that's how you can build it for yours. And then you can have shared with others. I can share different accounts with other people in my organization. Allison, who works with me, was scheduling some flights for us to go to marketing. So I shared the Delta account with her. She doesn't have my password, but she was able to get into Delta and use my account to get in because I shared it with her. So this is some of the really nice features of the system. And then form fills help you fill in those forms with pre-filled in company information. So I have my credit cards, debit cards already pre-filled in. And when I go to a site, I can tell LastPass to fill the form in for me. Saves you a lot of time. This really saves a lot of time. I am convinced of that. It's been a wonderful tool. So that's everything I wanted to show. I'm open for questions. Let me jump back over here and get over questions and answers. Anyone has any? Just type them in. See, I can open up the chat too. So I've answered a couple of the LastPass ones. Let's see, any in chat? How about setting up personal business? Well, you do need two different email accounts. If you have like a Gmail or Apple ID, use that for your personal account, and then for the business one, you use your business account. So you two different email addresses, and then in the business one, you can link the personal over to the business. So yes, you. Oh, that's a good one. If you do get divorced, what do? You would have two separate email accounts, so you can link them under the family plan. They can be split as well. So they thought of everything. So if you're on the family plan and you decide to chop it up and decide which kid gets who gets which kid, you can split the family plan into separate ones. But yeah, they do allow you to split the and combine the personal with the business. So you would just need two different email addresses, which would make sense. You would have your personal email address, which might be like a Gmail or something else. Mine's Outlook.com, which is Microsoft made me actually get that. I never had a separate one, but when I was setting up Azure for the first time, they said you have to have a recover password, a recover personal account, and so they actually went through it and made me set one up on Outlook.com, which is what I use that for Azure. But any other questions? So when you're ready to use it, you could go to our website /LastPass and sign up for the free trial. We'll help you administer the corporate one. Like I said, the personal is free, so there's no real cost there. The family plan is pretty reasonable as well. And there's a paid personal plan, which gives you some nice features. And the first thing I would do is after you get it loaded on your favorite PC or laptop or tablet or whatever, I'd get it on a mobile app. Yes, LastPass does handle passwords that are not browser-based. You can store them, and in some cases, you can actually teach it to how to log into an app. So they probably have more integrations with full applications than anyone on the market as well. But it will store passwords for anything, and then if you want it to actually fill them in, there are ways to train it to do that as well. So it's pretty smart that way. There's some settings in the software that you can control that allow it to under, well, it's under more options, probably under more options, not account settings. You can get into building, managing identities, and you can build them for pretty much any app, maybe like a QuickBooks or something that's not really not QuickBooks Online, but maybe local QuickBooks. But yeah, you can build it for apps. That was a good question. I've gotten a lot of great questions. Any others? Well, I appreciate you all spending the time with me this afternoon. And as I've said in the past, I'm willing to do training on any topics that would help you and your employees and your coworkers get more out of technology. You can also look at justinc.com/seminar listings to look at our previously recorded webinars that we've done on a variety of topics such as Teams and other subjects. So, and if you think of anything else you'd like to learn, we like to put together a training session on that for you. If you need anything if you're one of our corporate accounts, we're happy to do customized training as well for you and your employees on any topic that would be beneficial. We did a work at home webinar recently. We've done quite a few different topics. So take a look, and again, thank you for joining us today.